So a lot of us spend a lot of time and energy and money trying to make ourselves more attractive and get better jobs and increase our prestige in the world. And have you ever taken a moment to think, why? Why do I do this? Why do I invest so much in trying to increase my social capital, my physical capital, my beauty capital, all this stuff in life? Because when we really think about it, it really comes down to one major thing, and that's what we're going to explore today. So howdy, if we haven't met before, my name is Kalen. I'm an ecstatic spirituality coach. I host this YouTube channel, Ecstatic Self, where we explore the intersection of spirituality and meditation, sex and sexuality, masculinity, what is that, and how do we bring it all together to live an authentic life. I've written a couple books on these topics, and I work with people around the world one-on-one to help them come home to themselves. So I think a lot of people, most people, pretty much everybody, has a desire to be either rich, or famous, or fabulous, or sexy, or highly desired in some way. But what is that really about? Is it about the money? Is it about the notoriety? Is it about all that comes with that social cachet? Because I think we've heard time and again from people who have those things that it doesn't actually make them happy. Rates of depression, suicide, drug use in the rich and fabulous community is remarkably high. And if all those things bought lasting happiness, then they should be the happiest and wellest people on the planet. But they're not. In fact, Harvard did a study on wellness and happiness over the course of a person's life. They studied originally men, but eventually both genders, starting in the 1950s, tracking some of their graduates throughout their life to see who was actually genuinely happy. And the people they followed varied from JFK to people we've never heard about. And the one thing that they found actually made somebody happy wasn't the amount of money or prestige they claimed. It was, did they have a positive primary relationship? Were they partnered, married, settled with somebody who really improved their quality of life? So already we're seeing this idea that it's actually the company you keep, the people with whom you spend the most time, that actually makes us much more happy than fame and riches and all that good stuff. But then why? Why do we continue to seek those things? And the theory that I want to posit today, that I want to suggest, is that it comes down to stress. Ah yes, that old familiar friend that many of us, all of us, are very familiar with, and the hormones that are associated with stress. Because when you're stressed out, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline. Adrenaline gets your body moving, gets it going. Cortisol is an important hormone in the body. You wouldn't be able to wake up well in the morning without it. In fact, people who take too much melatonin at night can suppress cortisol levels in the morning so that they actually struggle to awake. But too much cortisol is not good. Too much cortisol causes weight gain, heart problems, diabetes, depression, like the list goes on and on. Basically every major, pretty much every major malady can be tied to excessive levels of cortisol. And who do we think has the highest levels of cortisol in society? Or let's even just make it simpler. In a business, who do you think has the highest levels of chronic stress? The CEO, the CFO, the C-suite? That's what many people would assume. But in reality, actually, their measured levels of stress hormones are actually the lowest. That's right. The higher your social status, the lowest levels of chemical stress you have. But wait, you might be saying, that doesn't make any sense. They're responsible for the biggest decisions. They're the ones who's responsible for all the millions and billions and trillions of dollars that their companies corral. Surely making all those big decisions, having all that responsibility should make them more stressed than everyone else. That's not true. It's not. It's measured. It's not true. You want to know who has the highest level of stress hormones in an organization? All the way down. Entry level, the bottom level rung workers, the people who have no authority, no social standing, and very little respect. They're the ones whose stress levels are chronically the highest. And before you get into thinking that this is just related to humans only, that this is pertinent to only humans, scientists have also studied stress levels in chimpanzees, which are very similar to humans in many ways. And the exact same thing happens. The male chimps at the bottom rung of society have the highest levels of stress hormones. The chimps at the top of society have the lowest level of stress hormones. Many philosophers over time have argued that we are motivated by two forces, a movement towards love and a movement away from things that scare us. That everything we do is trying to make our lives more comfortable and decrease pain. Increase pleasure, decrease pain. And let's face it, it sucks to be stressed out. It sucks to feel invalidated, that you're not seen, that you don't matter, that you're invisible, that no one would care if you were there or not. It sucks to feel like your decisions matter, that your contribution doesn't really matter, that you are replaceable by another cog in the machine. It hurts to feel like people don't notice you. It hurts to feel like people don't actually see you. It hurts to feel like you are just a little mindless peon that could be replaced in a moment. To be seen, to be valued, to be treated with respect, to be cared for, to be given love and kindness and acceptance, and to be told you truly matter, creates a tremendous boost to our well-being. And those individuals who elevate their status either because of money, awards, fame, attractiveness, get a lot more of that. Their feeling of being invisible, of being stressed out, does decrease. But wait a minute, Kaylin, didn't you just say at the beginning of this video that if richness and success and beauty were all that in a bag of chips, then those people would be the happiest? Well, it's true. Just because you attain those things doesn't mean you'll actually be happy. And just because you attain a level of those things doesn't mean you'll actually feel like they're good enough. How many people do we know that have amazing bodies, but they'll come and complain that they feel fat and ugly and old, and we just want to slap them? How many people do we know that by many societal standards have a ton of money, but they still feel like they don't have enough? Or they can't buy what so-and-so has. They can't buy that $10 million yacht. They can't buy that, third Ferrari or whatever. It doesn't matter what level you are at, it is still possible to feel like you are lacking. It is still possible to feel that you are ungrateful for it. Honestly, that was one of the big reasons I chose to leave the career of acting in my late 20s, was realizing that no matter how successful somebody was in the arts, most of them still felt like they should be doing better. I should have won that award, I should have gotten that part, I should be having so-and-so's career. There's very, very few people in that industry who feel just like tremendously grateful of like, oh yeah, lucky me, I got to do this thing. There's a lot of competitiveness and comparison. And that isn't just tied to the arts industry. I think we see that in a lot of different industries. In the financial sector, of course. I went to a pretty prestigious school. I went to Northwestern University. I graduated magna cum laude. And it was like a point of pride to show how much you were suffering and how many fewer hours of sleep you got compared to somebody else. Like there was this inherent competitiveness of never being able to say, I'm good enough as I am. This is great. This is beautiful. I'm grateful. I sometimes, less now, but I used to even feel shame being like, oh, I only went to Northwestern, but that person went to Stanford, like my husband. Like not feeling good enough, even though I still went to like a top 10 school in the country. Like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And getting caught up in this scarcity mindset of I'm still not good enough is something so many of us have to fight, because we live in this culture where we are surrounded by advertising. We're surrounded by messages of insufficiency telling us you aren't pretty enough, you aren't young enough, you aren't fit enough, you aren't wealthy enough. Oh, but if you buy this beauty product, or you buy this car, or you buy this coat or this handbag, then you will be satisfied. We hear these messages throughout our day, every day. Studies have actually shown that people are exposed to over 7,000 pieces of advertisements every single day. It's a fucking lot of messages saying you're insufficient over and over. And so what is the alternative? The alternative is to say wherever we are, we find gratitude. No matter how difficult our situation, no matter how much we feel like we are lacking, we still feel thankful. And I know many of you say, oh, but I have nothing to be thankful for. Bullshit. Every single one of us have blessings. Every one of us have things to be grateful for. Every one of us has privilege. Even if you come from really challenging circumstances, every one of us has some element of these things. And to start counting those blessings, to start counting those things and saying, I am grateful for what has come into my life. I'm grateful for my body. I'm grateful for my level of attractiveness. I'm grateful for the money I do have. I'm grateful for the esteem that I do have. And stop turning it into a fucking competition. Now, obviously, this is easier said than done, but this is part of the work. This is part of how we live a better life, is by really taking the time to dive into these things and explore them. Because if you do an unconscious life, if you just keep moseying along without considering these things and just following the scripts that advertisements and bosses and parents tell you you're supposed to do, you will be miserable. You will be lonely and afraid. You will be all the things that are reinforcing this negative self-image of saying, I'm not good enough. Because at the end of the day, the world is not hierarchical. Someone is not better because they're prettier. Someone is not better because they're wealthier. Someone is not better because they won an award. Every sentient creature, and this is the key, every sentient creature is a manifestation of the divine. Every sentient being is worthy of respect and love. They are God manifest on earth. Even the beggar on the street, even the murderer, everyone is a manifestation of God. And some people have the good fortune, the karma, whatever you want to call it, the destiny to be born into a wealthy family, or to have a foot-long cock, or to be the kind of person who gets cast in major Hollywood films. Good for them. We celebrate for them. We say, that's awesome, congratulations, enjoy your blessings. But you are not better. You are not better because you're my manager. You're not better because you run a Fortune 50 company. You and I and everyone else are all God made manifest. And to celebrate where you are. Because when you can actually celebrate where you are, even as you're working to change, right? Like, by all means, make more money, get a better body, go get plastic surgery if that'll make you happy. I don't really care. But when you can celebrate where you are, what happens to those cortisol levels? They go down. And then as you feel happier and more content, suddenly those things matter a little bit less. They will probably always matter to some extent, right? We are spirits having a human experience. We're never going to fully escape our humanness, nor should we. We should enjoy these bodies, enjoy this life. So yeah, fuck yeah, go make money and go on a $40,000 trip to Antarctica. Go do it. Go work out in the gym and do what you need to do to go get a sculpted body that makes you feel good and sexy when you look in the mirror. Go win that award because it makes you feel like your work is validated, by all means. But do not expect that to be the panacea that makes everything okay in life. Do the work that you can do to find peace and contentment where you are, even as you work to create change. To realize that living a low cortisol, high joy life is possible right here, right now, and to put in the energy that is required to make that happen. So anyhow, that's my thought for today. I hope you found this valuable, and if you liked it, please share it with somebody else who you think it will matter to them. And please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm looking at hosting some workshops this coming year around the world, some fabulous places. So if you want to work in person together, please keep a lookout for that. And I'll see you again soon. Much love and blessings.